Hey, ladies and Germans, how you all doing? Today is something a little bit different from Company of Heroes 2. Today, in fact, is a 2v2. And spawning over here in the east, two Wehrmacht players. In the north, I'm playing the blue Wehrmacht. It is Royal Weapons. And in the south, playing the yellow Wehrmacht, it is, they call me Zhe Schmoo. I'm just going to call him the Schmoo. And I have to ask you, have you heard of the Schmoo? The Schmoo loved being eaten. Alrighty. And apparently he's already going to start doing a little bit of tough talk over here. In the west, though, we're going to see Redwood Original playing the United States Forces and already teching into that armor company, just calling assault engineers like crazy. And Uwe3000 is playing the purple-trunked Soviet troops. Now, while we can go start looking at what they're building already, I do want to do a quick commander call. Uwe is bringing in anti-infantry tactics, urban defense tactics, which is not something you see too often, but still kind of cool, and partisan tactics, which are just so much more fun to play against whenever you're not fighting them. In the east, though, Zhe Schmoo, no, excuse me, Royal Weapons, rather, excuse me, has elite troops doctrine, encirclement, and spearhead doctrine. This is kind of an interesting one every now and again. Doesn't always get a ton of play, though, and Zhe Schmoo is bringing along Jaeger Armor Doctrine, Blitzkrieg, and German Mechanized Doctrine. So three kind of usual ones, and a couple less usual ones down here to the south. Either way, we are going to see that Vo Farmlands is already going to start kicking off with a bang. Schmoo's force is moving over here to the north to secure this fuel point, while rear echelons are right in the area. And Uwe is going for partisan tactics, so those allied players are going to know absolutely everything that's going on the German side of the map. Going to be kind of a little bit less than 100% fun for them, I imagine. Combat engineers and Sturmpyos start training fire into this house. Not going to be a whole lot of real, not combat engineers, Pyos rather, just not Sturmpyos. Going to be exchanging fire into this house. Not a whole lot of really, really good damage going to go on back and forth unless they're really unlucky. In the north, we are going to see that these particular Pyos squad are chased away the rear echelons, but they're going to get outflanked by these assault engineers. And these guys with their M3 grease guns, I thought we were going to do pretty well until I noticed there's an MG42 up here. So they're going to get savaged and pushed back. He was actually just outside that cone of fire. Could have been doing pretty well, but then didn't realize that until it was too late. He had already pressed the retreat button. In the center part of the map, we are going to see a couple of squads of kind of just real basic troops duking it out. Grens against combat engineers do cap out the center VP. While in the south, their brethren do the same thing, their Pyos squad here. They're already cut off by these combat engineers here, and this combat engineer squad just seems to be diving in really, really deep. So Uwe, surprisingly enough, going for just combat engies. Kind of an unusual opening. At the same time, Redwood is going with a basically a three, how do I put this? A three combat engineering kind of opening. I mean, the rear echelons as well as the combat engineers here. And we see the Germans jump into that house. Yes, there's one window here. So I'm not sure that's going to give them a whole lot of firepower necessarily. And indeed, even if these assault engineers are just starting to carve up that Pyos squad. So looks like it would have been better for them to just kind of be a little bit more circumspect. But maybe that's all they were trying to do, just lure them right back into that machine gun. But even though they're luring them to the machine gun in the north, and although there is that big kind of engagement in the north and very much a fire point for the German players, the Allies do seem to have a good portion of the map capped out. Indeed, they are forcing recaps onto this strategic point in the north. And without being connected with the fuel, we're probably going to see a much quicker teching up from the Allies as opposed to the Germans. Though it must be sort of ready that Schmoo has already got his Leichte Mechanized Company, gone up to Battle Phase 1, and I don't think Royal Weapons is finished just yet. No, he's going to be done in just a second, though. In the center of the map, Grenadiers facing off against combat NGs, not going to be too great, and indeed we even see some partisans that have been spawned in the south. Not going to be too great for them, though. As soon as the machine gun turns, and gets actual line of sight on them, they really could do well, but these partisans in the meantime are just circle strafing these machine guns to pieces. I've never really seen this as an actual legitimate strategy. But with the partisans in the house, yeah, this MG42's got to book it or he's going to die. So he finally ends up booking it and does get away there, leaving in a little bit of combat against this Grenadier squad. Germans are making a push over here in the center part of the map. A flamethrower on these Pyos. Going to be good for taking out some of these garrisons to the north, but in the open field, not as much to be done. But I guess that's why they have this mortar team that's been called on the map. Yeah, it's been pushed back a little bit here or there, but it'll do pretty well, I would say. Another squad of partisans being called in. I wonder if Uwe is just going to start doing partisans and combat NGs. It wouldn't be necessarily a great opportunity or great option, but hey, you know, if it's going to work for you, it's going to work for you. 222 arrives to the north, trying to push back this assault engineer squad, which has, I can never think, is M1, M2, an M2 flamethrower. And right now, I don't think the riflemen have rifle grenades, or anti-tank grenades rather, and no, they don't. But it looks like he's going to be more concerned about chasing off things like this early mortar coming from the Americans. 487 to 465. The Americans are seeing a lot of their troops push back. The Soviets less so, mostly because of the greater firepower, I would say, that kind of exists for them. Up close and personal, these partisans are absolutely devastating. You know, they can camouflage and move in and out of cover, so they're pretty beastly. The Allies, excuse me, the Americans don't have quite the same thing. And we do see there's been an S minefield deployed to the north, and we see the unfortunate quasualties that have had to deal with it. And good gosh, Zhe Schmoo is going out with quad 222s. I don't know how well this is going to work. It'd be kind of interesting, though. Combat engineers are trying to take out the strategic point. They will do so, but not that's going to do them a whole lot of good. But behind that, you just see Royal weapons sticking in machine guns anywhere possible, trying to create any kind of break point for this massive, massive waves of Soviets that just kind of continually seem to hammer across the map. Grenadier squad's going to slip in behind the lines, but doesn't actually hang around. Instead, just runs away almost immediately. And I kind of want to see this huge attack of these 222s. While we're getting that ready to go, I'm going to say, folks, I do have to make a quick apology to all of you who sent in some gameplay to me. Unfortunately, the new patch has completely and totally eliminated my ability to use some of that gameplay. So I hope you will send me some other ones. I know Shaker, for example, he sent me a great game against a Brit player, but unfortunately I wasn't able to use that. So don't be discouraged if I haven't been able to feature your game. Just send me some more, and happy to do so. These Trip 222s in the center part of the map will see this combat engineer squad off pretty quickly. Or, well, nope, actually he's probably even going to carve him up here. Never mind. And anti-tank partisans have been called in. So, question is, yep, there goes the combat engineer squad. And now it's coming at a T-70 at the same time, but with quad quad 222s, I almost wonder if it's more than enough to even take them all out. I don't know. But it's kind of amusing to see it. In the south, we're going to see combat engineers facing off with flamethrowers, I guess a flamethrower by this one Pyo squad, and it's not going to go too well for them. Not going to go too well for this orchard either, but thankfully that terrain doesn't light on fire. And indeed we see for the first time the Germans are taking back control on this map. Are they teching up at all into next battle phase though? No, there's Schmoo doing it, and Royal Weapons is calling in a medic bunker. Something that's not happening just yet. For our friend Schmoo. But the quad 222s are just kind of hanging out in the middle of the map, and actually going to be just Trip at this point. And I have to try to think about how the Allies can get back into this. Yeah, they have a lot of short-range firepower with this, but until they can get some anti-tank on the field, maybe that's what's happening right now with this T-70. Ooh, well, they call it anti-tank partisans. Okay, so that could be something right there. T-70, those getting pounded to pieces just by repeated attacks. And it goes down even before taking out one of the 222s. These anti-tank partisans, though, might have something to say about this, and 57mm as well. And the captain's on the field as well. So the 222s, although they had some very, very interesting early times, two of them do go down here between, actually now Spam Zooks and a 57mm and the anti-tank partisans. So a big, big blob of Allied troops in the center part of the field. Schmoo in the meantime has gone for Jaeger armor doctrine. Wonder if it's just trying to hang on until much, much later? I don't entirely know. I can't say for sure, and I wish I could. We will see there is a pack back here, and I imagine it's going to be a machine gun bunker going up in the center part of the map for Schmoo. But these 222s have to be really, really worried because a volley or two, and that will see that light vehicle torn to pieces. Meantime, though, Schmoo has decided, whoa, what the heck was that? That was just like such a weird ballet of movement right there. Schmoo decides it's time to call in some P-Grens, so I don't entirely know why. If he's going to have just used their MP40s or what the deal is. But this American push does get shoved away, thankfully, by a couple MG42s in the south. In the north, these attacking partisans, there's a bunch of them too, are trying to take on this machine gun and this garrison here. It's not going to go too well. They're going to pop out of cover just to throw out a couple of rounds here or there. And it's really concerning right now. Does this combat engineer squad make it away? Yes, it does, just barely. And finally, this other squad finds itself under suppression. It's going to get shoved away pretty quickly, I'm sure. 464 to 420. The center part of the map continues to go seesawing back and forth. In the north, the Germans just kind of keep hanging out. There's a machine gun bunker up here to lock down a good portion. There's also an S minefield to really punish any immediate attempts to sweep the German fortifications, let's call them. In the south, we will see T-70s going around and just exploding every bit of this S minefield that he can. Is there anything left? Yep, there's still two of them there. Might even pick up this Pio squad, and yes, he does. But there is now a support armored corps on the field for Royal weapons, and the question really is, will he go and get something like a Strug? Because that right now might be more than enough. Heck, he probably could get away with even getting something like a Ostwind. Wouldn't be perfect, mind you, but it could work. But 11 minutes into the game, I finally can take a quick breather. Let me get a quick sip of a beverage here. Green tea. T-70's going to line up against this Grenadier squad. He's going to toss off a Panzerfaust and then bolt, I'm sure. Just before he was actually able to take back this point, though, or actually decap it, perhaps. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how the late game develops here. We're going to see a lot of the American troops, for example, are being called in with weapon racks. So, like, for example, the lieutenant up here with a BAR, and a couple of Zooks, and a lot of flamethrowers. And dear God, that was just an amazing set of grenades. Taking out one of those, actually the rifleman squad with the Zook. And just incredibly punishing the American forces. We can see from veterans here right about now that I think the Germans are definitely having the better part of it. They have managed to decrew this 57mm, and I think, yeah, the captain's trying to pick it back up, but that wasn't going to happen there. Royal Weapons has decided to go for encirclement doctrine, kind of cool, calling in stormtroopers as well. So where are those stormtroopers coming in? Other center part of the map. Not going to be too great for them, just like it's not going to be too great for this Pioneer squad that's getting savaged by flamethrowers and PPS's and everything like that. And Uwe just continues to toss in call-ins like crazy. These partisans are just coming in all over the place. There are now 3 different Shreks on the map, as well as a T-70. So these 222s, if they're not going to be dead yet, they're going to be dead soon. You see that happening right about now as these very embattled farmhouses are trying desperately to push away these huge pushes. Fuel cache completed for the Germans over here to the slight, in the north area. T-70 coming in as well, and that Pak-40 isn't going to get a line of sight on it though. So the Grenadiers might go down, but could we see a drop from the T-70 as well? Round comes in, slams into him, and I think one more round should be enough to take him out. Is he going to hit those? A question. No, he doesn't have it completely able to be seen, and instead we're going to see these combat engineers going to start hammering away at the oh my gosh, the machine gun, and Royal Weapons drops both his machine guns, and I think a squad of Grenadiers in about 15-20 seconds. That's just brutal losses right there. In the south, the surviving 222s kind of peeking in, peeking out, not able to really push away a lot of the Allied attack. And in the far north, we're going to see that these mines are going to get exploded by this mortar team who might just be firing at this bunker here. Both Germans have... No, they haven't. I was going to say, okay, here's a P4 coming off of Royal Weapons, but Schmoo has not teched up at all building-wise. Over here to the west, Ambo has come out. Is there any kind of attempt? Oh no, there is a major on the field. Excuse me for missing that one there, guys.
The enemy is attacking one of our forward buildings.
And once that major's on the field, does that mean there are going to be a lot of tanks, aren't there? Uwe, for his own part, doesn't seem to be going too high. He's got Tank Infantry Battalion Command and Support Weapon Compania, but he's got more than enough material actually to just start bringing in. What's the term I'm looking for here? Heavy tanks. That's a great way to put it, I would say. Recon overflight, trying to find, I think, perhaps these mortars, or trying to just check out what's going on over here. Partisans being called in again. Excuse me. Right on top. Oh, this machine gun.
We have lost an MGT.
And a very quick grenade does see them fall. Unfortunately for the Germans, they will not be able to pick up the squad in return, and indeed, if they move forward at all, they're going to get hammered. Schmoo does finally take up into Support Weapon Compania. Excuse me, that was Support Armored Corps. Wow. It has been a very long morning, folks. Please forgive me. And these P-Grants are trying to face off against all this Allied infantry, and might be able to do so with the 222s in support. But it turns out that Lieutenant has himself bazooka on top of his normal BAR. Just kind of sneaking in a couple of hits here and there. 222s trying to push away and push around those anti-tank partisans. Might get a shot off? No, they don't. Never mind. And the glass cannon bit of the anti-tank partisans shows itself right now. One squad going down immediately. These other 222s, though, sliding in, getting in behind the 57mm, and might be looking to pick off that mortar. That could be kind of an interesting attack if he's able to pull it off. P4, in the meantime, is in the south, and the T-70 is going to announce itself at the same position. And that P4 is a pretty big beast. You can see he's like like an 8th grader fighting against a kindergartner, and there goes the T-70. That poor guy gets taken out in a second or two. 222s are just kind of chilling up in the north. Did that mortar go down? No, it's in quick retreat. We're going to see that these partisan tank hunters can't actually find a way through those S minefields, which will allow the Germans a moment or two to kind of get back on their feet. 445 to 329. What had been a 2v1 cap for the Allies will be a 2v1 cap for the Germans just a second or two. As this gun to the south is going to put fire on top of the P4, and that P4 says, yo bro, I don't care who you are. Oh wait, maybe I care who the partisans are though. And manages to sidle away with just 6 kills. So not a whole lot going on there necessarily, but could be interesting nonetheless. Now what I want to see is close the pocket. That'd be awesome to me. North, we're going to see that the anti-tank partisans are going to take out one of the surviving 222s. In fact, it takes out both of them. Those poor guys never seem to have a chance. P-Guns are trying to get a little bit of revenge though. Not going to be able to do so. Forced to kind of slide away when they see this huge push from the Americans is incoming. A Stoke comes onto the field. A Stoke G comes onto the field for Schmoo. Which is definitely a good, I think, not aggressive posture. It's a solid vehicle for what it is. Although it is definitely not going to be ideal. And then Austin is on the field for Royal Weapons, so he's going to take a couple rounds here and there, I'm sure, from the anti-tank partisans. Or partisan tank hunters. I'm going to call them anti-tank partisans almost forever, I think. But with the squad in such a terrible health position, we could see the squad even go down, taking some incidental firepower from these charging stormtroopers with their STGs. And never mind, with the advance of the Zis gun, the Flak Panzer intelligently decides to back away. Now, these guys right here do have tactical advance, which is very interesting. So, excellent at picking off models, but it does slow them down a ton. So you see it slows them down, but significantly improves movement combat effectiveness. So when they're firing on the move, they are much more accurate. And it does seem that Schmoo is tired of taking partisan attacks, so he's going to start flaming down these buildings. The annoying thing about it for me is that when a building is not actually occupied, it does not seem to take as much fire damage or as quickly as it would normally. Rear echelons, in the meantime, picking up all these S-mine patches down here. Not in the south necessarily, but far enough south that any kind of northern machine gun won't do anything to them. Another partisan push coming out through the center, taking out this fuel cache. We'll be able to do so in a second or two. But the P4 says, yo bro, that's not cool, and he takes out one of those squads of partisan tank hunters. And while this disc gun is over here, we'll be able to put some real hurting on the P4. I think the P4 might be able... Oh no, it didn't even take it out. Good gosh. Wow. That is a surprise right there. So that is a dead P4 for not a whole lot, unfortunately. But there is a decrewed pack out of... Excuse me, Ziscon out of it, and all these partisans up here to the north were picked off. The question really becomes, though, will some of these cut-off units be able to really recover from some of these losses? That's, I mean, losing a P4 at 20 minutes into the game is still a big loss. Allies, for their part, start calling in their M10 Wolverines. So either there are commies afoot, which technically there are, but instead it's just going to look like they're going to be in for late-game anti-tank. Now, I'm a little concerned for these assault engineers. They really should be going down. I mean, 16 semi-automatic weapons, never mind. They make it away with a sliver of health. That could have been a good fuel takeaway. Excuse me, munitions takeaway from the Allies. This machine gun, in the meantime, will probably be able to suppress... Will they be able to... No, it's going to push away. Be pushed away. Alrighty. And with the retreat of all the Allied troops back into basically home base, with the exception probably of this M10, Germans push out rather aggressively and should be able, mind you, be able to establish themselves pretty handily. Now this breakthrough thing would be kind of cool, actually, to use. You don't often see it, mostly because it's just so expensive, but it allows the amazing German vehicles to cap points in the same way that light Soviet armor does. The Flak Panzer's going to run afoul of these partisan tank hunters, and this M10's going to say, ooh, look, lunch! And he'll probably start sliding forwards if he stops slaloming back and forth like a drunken, 16-year-old. Here he comes. He starts sidling forward right now. The stormtrooper's going to be like, yo, bro, this is a bad idea. So they could sprint. They could do tactical advance, but it's not going to do a whole lot to them. And indeed, they realize how stupid it is to be firing their STGs and kind of back away. Another M10's being called in for the Americans. Not necessarily sure why. They have a fair amount of anti-tank. Just look at all this down here. It's insane. 1, 2, 3, 4. And a 57mm. Flak Panther silently forward. This guy's gonna die though. 1, 2, 3. One more round. We'll do it. The M10's not even gonna have to get a shot off here. Yep, there he goes. There goes the Flak Panzer. And with his death, Royal Weapons and Schmoo really need to start investing in late game armor here. Schmoo floating an absolute ridiculous amount of fuel. And although the infantry engagement is more or less relatively even, interesting decision to put a machine gun right here. Huh. Not sure I agree with some of these things. 444 to 215 though, 23:45 into the game. I guess you can't argue with the results. That right now, the Germans are in a massive lead. The real quick question though is what happens down here when this battle group decides to actually move itself into an engagement. Excuse me on that, folks. I think another quick drink. 105 Hauser Sherman is up and running though, and this guy is a killing machine given half the opportunity. I'm kind of wondering if there's a fuel, if this is taken away, could they use close the pocket on this bad boy? Because I feel like that would be devastating. And indeed, we see the Germans are really taking back the map. I'm not entirely sure why the Allies are so clumped down here to the south. Do know that 105 shots are kind of terrifying. These Panzergrens are just kind of bolting forward. They were going to toss out a grenade or two, but realized against it that it's probably a bad idea. And his P4 is going to slide forward, trying to put some fire, I'm guessing, onto this 105. He's got to watch out for those Wolverines to come in here. And indeed, that's exactly what's going to happen. They toss down a round or two, and that guy is going to get savaged. You need to back away, my friend. Run away! Swim away! Okay, cool. Teams' on-the-move accuracy is quite garbage, and that's something I've always kind of had an issue with. I'm not saying that these guys had suspension to always counteract moving shots, but they had something. It wasn't great, but they had something. And Schmoo continued to just be like, yo bro, I have an absolutely insane amount of manpower and fuel. But I see no reason to use either bit of it. Leaving his ally, though, to just kind of cap out part of the map. 444 to 124, 2545, and the allies are finally taken back this position to the south. And you have to wonder why they haven't been a little more aggressive in the north. Yes, there's a machine gun there. All you have to do is literally throw down a mortar to take that out, or push your tanks forward. That'd be just as good an idea. Stormtroopers taking a little bit of firepower over here. Not going to be too much happening. But now we are going to start to see things like this T-34, and now Katyushas are on the map as well. That's going to be bad for the Germans. I do always want to make sure I catch the Katyusha barrages. That was kind of confusing to me, if nothing else. Redwood continues to bring in more and more M10s, so he is just refuses to be worried about late game armor. Katyusha barrage comes over here, probably going to take out this house if nothing else, and hammers those Pio squads. Yep, there goes machine gun. The pack gun gets decrewed, and we're going to see to the north that these Americans are going to push forwards. They're going to start dumping on the weak fortifications that exist. It's a huge battle group here. God, that's big. And this brave machine gun are going to put fire onto the tank destroyers, knowing there's nothing they can do. And the south, the T-34 is going to push back. Not going to happen. You know, have to really worry about too much. And a break supply line. Oh, you know what that came in? It came in right here to get rid of materials there. And now we're going to actually see close the pocket. So close the pocket is going to start hammering around here. So this is closed. Where? Okay, yes. So artillery fire for this stuff comes down everywhere. Everywhere. Unfortunately, it's not always the most easily observable commander ability. There we go. So the mortar does finally go down for the Americans, and one of the Wolverines taking a lot of damage from that Stug in the north. And coupling with that, good God, this T-34-76 has gotten hammered as well. So he's lost a lot of units in a very short span of time. That close the pocket might have been the turnaround for this entire game. 98 seconds left, but then, yeah, there goes one. There goes another. Jeez. And Uwe had a huge force, and now just nothing exists anymore. The Allies, for their part, they do have one of their M10s. Where is that guy hanging out? He's hanging out back out in the north, repairing his Wolverine. But this elephant is on the field. We've got spotting scopes as well. The Americans are tossing down their own 240 barrage. So the Stug might take a little bit of incidental fire. But this elephant, in the meantime, well, guys, you know where he's putting his trunk. That was a brutal play right there. That actually might have been like a, victory for the, Germans kind of play. Gosh. 240 barrage comes in, doesn't do a whole lot. 434 to 88. The Allies are savaged. Savage, my friends. Still a couple of free machine guns here and there. Maybe not up here to the north, but one certainly right there. And Schmoo, shockingly, has still not built a medic bunker. Is that what he's doing right now? Tech up, my friend. Tech up. Either way, we will see the Germans take a 2-to-1 cap advantage yet again. Katyushas kind of chilling back here, realizing there's not a whole lot they can do against that god tank of an elephant. Nevertheless, I think what they're trying to do in this particular case, they're trying to get rid of some of this foliage to open up a lot more firing lanes for the elephant. But I could not say for 100% on that one. And indeed, Katyusha barrage comes around the center part of the map. Very speculative. Not going to do a whole lot, and indeed, I think this recon flight might even be able to see them. Here on Fog of War, yeah, he sees them. So the question is he going to move forward? I kind of would. But, you know, maybe he's a little bit less ballsy of a player than I am, which is kind of weird to think that I'm a ballsy player. Partisan tank hunters are being called to the map yet again, and a second T-34-76 is on the map, which is kind of weird because it means that the Germans, shockingly, are not out of this. Well, it actually also means that, shockingly enough, the Germans really do need to invest in some late-game armor. And he's just going to call in another P4. I'm not entirely sure why. He's just built a heavy tank core, has he not? Yeah, he has. I'm a little bit confused why he's going too light on that one. Elephant is going to probably take a little bit of fire from these anti-tank partisans. No, it's the P4 instead, because that guy is way more, what's the term I'm looking for here? I don't know what the term is. Vulnerable, perhaps?
We are losing a sector.
M10s are rushing in, trying to take out this P4, and there's going to be some firepower being thrown in every direction here. But finally, we do see these Grens going to toss out a Faust and have a Shrek as well, probably picked up from one of those
Lost a Panzer.
very, very once numerous anti-tank partisans. Oh my gosh, there's 4 M10s on the field. 4 M10s. 3 M10s. 3 M10s on the field. This elephant tank engagement, though, is he going to be able just to slam around into this other one over here? No, they're just going to try to circle strafe him to death. But with the Stug in support, I would not think that'd be a great idea. Then again, there's no one to back up this elephant. He's going to continue taking rounds. There's another one going in, and I dare say a little bit of aggression could see the Allied tank force picked off here. Third one goes out. Fourth one's going to go out in just a second. The Stug does buy it. But this guy is just hammering home. Any shot? Did he have a shot? Does he have a shot? Fog of War, can he see him? He can, but, you know, question is with the right unit.
Enemy has killed a machine gun crew.
So yes, we have seen death happen all across the map. Not so much on the part of the Soviets, who just calmly continue to build their armored strike force. But, you know, Royal Weapons has lost his P4s. No, he's actually brought in a Panther now, finally. Good idea there. And the Elephant, shockingly enough, does not have any kills, although he's been in part of a very, very active
In our grasp. Enemy has
area on the map here.
enemy forces are securing our
Now this Panther coming up at the same time, he's going to come into 2 T-34-76s. And shockingly enough, they throw 2 rounds to skate right by him, don't do jack. Not sure how he managed to worm his way into that kind of black magic, and indeed we're going to see him chase after the 76s. A frustration barrage is thrown out by the Katyushas, and it seems that the Allies are kind of just calling it quits. Is that going to be it? Will that be it, my friends? I don't know. But there's so much in the way of Soviet armor, I wouldn't be counting them out just yet. Yeah, there's only 10 tickets left, but they should be able to take something here. Shrek on the field, and Panther is getting hammered quite a bit, but this Elephant is coming forward now yet again, and that guy is completely repaired. Pac-40 in support. Yep, we're probably going to see one of his T-34s go down at least, maybe even both. Rounds galore. He's gonna go down. He's gonna brew up. He goes. You see another one go down here. Main gun destroyed. Panther slides around. A P4 slides around just to the side. He goes down as well. The other T-34 slides in. But if his brethren didn't have a chance, he certainly doesn't have a chance. With the grim finality of the headsman's axe, the P4 slides around and cooks around into his unfortunately closed compartment. And all that's left is this 105 Sherman and Katyushas. I would really love to see
now available for action.
the Germans dive forward and pick up these Katyushas, because once that happens, the game is in fact over. Question really has to worry about is, where are those anti-tank partisans? P4 chilling over here, the center part of the map, and he's got the whole breakthrough being used. So a lot of shockingly different things happening here. I rarely, if ever, see breakthrough actually utilized. It's just so expensive for fuel-wise, but I guess Royal Weapons decides at this point they do have things well in hand, which would be fairly fair to say. I might be able to take off that last engineer. No, they're not, and instead the stormtroopers are going to run back and forth with Zook and STGs. It would be good to see some repairs actually going down on these tanks, and indeed we're going to see, in fact, a couple of Panthers finally being called in by Schmoo, who was floating just a ridiculous amount of fuel for such a long time. Now, recon flight. Okay, this is the time that you dive in and take these guys out. Dive in and take them out. Anti-tank partisans being called in, though, to hammer this Panzer to death, and I think they probably will be able to do so. P4 is not the most durable vehicles. Of course, when you run into all these other guys as well. Oh, never mind, there he goes. Although 2 partisans do vanish in a juicy, juicy bit of death and destruction there. 36-14, shockingly enough, this game should have been over a couple minutes ago, but it seems the Allies had just a tiny bit of fight left in them. And indeed, we only are going to see a 2-to-1 cap in favor of not the Axis. Katyusha sliding forward again. They have barrages ready to go. But maybe they're going to do a 21-gun salute in the other direction. Not entirely sure why. This recon flight just continues to see him. And he's got to know there's nothing left for the Allies. And indeed, he does pretty much know that. So is he going to wait just to have all their tanks nice and repaired? And he's going to just charge forward in a nice little, you know, not Last of the Mohicans, but charge of the Light Brigade? That'd be kind of fun for me. I would enjoy that myself. But it seems instead that the Panther is going to just kind of come up to the north and probably shake and bake his M10.
The enemy is overrunning one of our capture points.
Katyusha's launching their barrages. Not going to do a whole lot. I mean, this entire area's been taken out already. And more close the pockets being utilized here. So let's just take a nice broad view of this here. You even get rid of heads-up display. Yes, look at that. This is an amazing, amazing sight to watch sometimes. Yeah, it's a thing that doesn't ever get used. That thing is amazing, though, if it actually gets utilized effectively. 105 Sherman's going to go down. In the north, we are going to see that this big German push, people are going to run away from this because of 240 barrage coming in. But still, where is... Oh no, actually I didn't even realize too. Close the pocket goes along all frontline enemy sectors too, so it hammers absolutely everything. It's not quite as much. The closed ones is where it really starts to hurt, but yeah, overall, intense destructive power. Schmoo took a lot of losses in that last push there, but he kind of did it, I think, for fun at this point. Other Panthers sliding up and around, popping off breakthroughs. Is he going to do that? Might as well at this point. And Schmoo just says, oh, I lost some squads. Never mind. I'll just remake them all just right now, and just calmly just orders up. Oh, he had ordered up 3 P-Grens and sets against it for the moment. Not 100% sure why. Because we are going to see a big base dive here. Redwood's got nothing left. Uwe's got Zis guns and 1 Katyusha. And I dare say, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be all she wrote here. The brave Zis gun perishes devastatingly. And that's going to be at 367-0. We're going to see a wipe happening here, and wow. A lot of fun to actually watch Close the Pocket and see it work. And intense barrages there. But well done to the Axis on that one. Uwe and Redwood, you guys had that well in hand in the beginning, but that 1-2 punch of the Stuka, as well as the Close the Pocket, oh, that was great. By the way, folks, thanks so much for tuning in. I will see you all soon. Remember, if you have a game to send to me, conorggaming@gmail.com, and be on the lookout for an EU4 game coming up very, very soon. That's going to be it for right now, though. Take it easy.